one in Argentina. So it's very important for us to link the orchard with the fruits, with the apples, the plums, the pears, because when you nose Glen Grant, that's the fruitiness you get from Glen Grant. So it's basically back to nature for the DNA profile of Glen Grant. People with passion like Miguel send the right message to the world of drinkers, the quality in single malt Scotch whisky. Yeah, you do. And they never live long enough, the gardener, to see it come to fruition. Just like a distiller, you lay down casks today, the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, I'm not going to see them in 50 years, or 40 years, or 30 years, because I'll be 103.
Esas son las plantas de África, ¿eh?
These are
Sudáfrica.
It's called Gunnery. And when the Major went to South Africa and India on safaris, he took back strange plants that he found. A lot didn't grow because it's much warmer there, but some did. So there's some quite strange plants here. James Grant, on safari in South Africa in 1898, brought home a small boy. They guessed his age was 8, and they called him Byway Makalanga because they found him by the way. He was lost and the huts were all on fire, so they took him home. And Makalanga is an area in Matabeleland in South Africa. The Major died, who took him home, died in 1931. Byway died in 1972, and he's buried up in the cemetery 41 years later, so he would have never lived that length. So they guessed his age is 8 when he came in 1898, and he died in 1972, so he had a very good life. I think he was drinking the right amount of Glen Grant every day to keep that spirit alive. Yeah.
Oye, Dennis.
Yeah.
Dennis. Oh, el 170 aniversario de Glen Grant de Dennis.
Yeah, this was bottled to celebrate 170 years of distilling in 2010. It's non-chill filtered. The average age is about 27 years old, and it's a mixture of all kinds of casks. Butts, hoggies, barrels, refills, second fills, third fills, puncheons. I tried to create something uniquely different using every kind of cask that's used in the industry, and I found it was very difficult to get them all in balance, because if too many of sherry butts, you've got too sweet, too dark in colour, too much sweet raisin notes, too much bourbon cask, too much toffee vanilla, and too many old ones of the 70s when it was lightly peated gave you too much smoke. So you had this imbalance, or what they say in an orchestra, a big bass drum booming away there, being dominant. So it took a little while to balance it, but I think we succeeded. Nice golden colour, and I think every sip you take, you will have different aromas and tastes here, taste especially because of the blend of all the different casks in there. You get sweet raisin notes, you'll get honey notes, you'll get apples, pears. You get pears, yeah, you get pears from Glen Grant. And you will get a hint of smokiness in the end because there's some really old casks in there which were very, very delicately smoked in the 70s because we used our own malt then, and maybe 8-9 parts per million. Very delicate, but it's all there. So the best way to drink this is with friends.
That's right.
Is with friends, yeah? That's the best way to drink.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. In very good health.
Para la gente del mundo whisky que nos sigue todos los domingos, desde aquí, desde Glen Grant, en el corazón de Speyside, con mi amigo Dennis Malcolm. Eslancio.
This is the most natural way to drink water and to drink whiskey. With friends in a lovely location with good water as well. Just a little, not all of it, just enough to break it and give you the aromas, eh?
Estamos probando el agua del manantial aquí de la destilería Glen Grant, que va tranquilamente con este whisky. Todos los años lo hacemos con mi amigo Dennis Malcolm.
I should really come up here every day, not to exercise, but to check the quality of the product. This is the right place to do it.
That's a good shot.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. And 40 years ago, we didn't have these, and nobody knew where I was. Hi everyone in Argentina and the Whisky Club. I extend a very warm welcome to you from Glen Grant because I have today with me my very, very long lost brother Miguel here who thinks that Glen Grant is part of his heart like it is part of my heart. So I wish you all the very best and a good future drinking single malt Glen Grant, and look forward to seeing you all at Glen Grant someday. I'm only continuing the journey from my forefathers. You know, they set the foundations for this distillery, they set the profile for the product, and I'm only carrying on that tradition to make sure it lives on for another 180 years, because next year will be 180 years in distilling. I know people innovate, and some maybe innovate too far, but innovation you can't ignore, because people are changing, their way of life is changing, but you know, all these things can change, but I don't want the character and taste and profile of Glen Grant to change in any way at all.
Bueno, querido gente del mundo whisky, para mí una emoción inmensa. De casualidad, ayer, visitando Macallan, me encontré con un amigo de 20 años, uno de los mejores 3 del mundo, está dentro de los 3 mejores del mundo de toda la historia de Escocia, tiene 58 años en la industria y soy un amigo del alma de él y el mío también porque para mí es una persona que vale mucho, soy de respetar a estos próceres que quedaron en el whisky y bueno, le damos la bienvenida.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to welcome Miguel to Glen Grant. It's not the first time he has been here. He has been here many, many times, and I admire his passion for Scotch single malt, and especially the way he represents Scotch whisky, single malt Scotch whisky in Argentina, and Glen Grant as well.
Vine a visitarte, a recordar las noches que hemos pasado aquí, durmiendo en esta destilería durante tantos años, y aparte a ver los nuevos productos que tenés. ¿Qué nos puedes explicar a nosotros, a la querida gente del mundo whisky, sobre los nuevos productos de Glen Grant?
Glen Grant, when Campari bought Glen Grant 2006, we just had two. We had a non-age, and we had the 5-year-old that was sent to Italy, and a little 10-year-old sold at the visitor centre. But Campari are very passionate about Glen Grant and supporters of Glen Grant and have invested heavily in Glen Grant. So since they took over, we repackaged the 10. We then created a new packaging for the Major Reserve. And 4 years ago, I launched a 12-year-old and also an 18-year-old. So we now have a nice range. And I like to say, we're extending the family.
Sí, la verdad que tienes unos productos, el que estoy probando ahora es un single malt de 15 años, el nuevo, elaborado por Denny, y la verdad que es una maravilla, un producto muy frutado, especiado y con un final muy largo. Es un producto excelente. Denis, la verdad que me gustaría preguntarte algo en cuanto a la industria del whisky en Escocia, cómo desde tu punto de vista la ves, o sea, si como un poquito manteniéndose o en decadencia, o con una gran demanda de todo el público extranjero que ya no pueden abastecer.
I think the majority of people are using age expressions now, and there's a demand for single malt older expressions, and people are laying down stocks for future sales. Some distillers have quite extensive stocks and are quite able to do that, but we are gradually laying down for future generations and older expressions. There is a huge interest in older stocks by much more people and younger people. Younger people now are more inquisitive and want to be more knowledgeable about single malts. They want to know the difference between one single malt and another single malt, and now they want to know why it's different.
Noto que hay muchas compañías amigas como Gordon McPhail, como muchos embotelladores independientes que ya no tienen el mismo stock o la cantidad que tenían hace 2 años.
There seems to be a worldwide demand for special editions and older expressions of single malts, and as long as the demand is there, people with stocks will try and supply that to them, you know. I know a lot of people collect, and once they start collecting, they want to continue collecting the range. That's nice in one way, but I'm a great believer in making single malt of all ages and therefore experiencing and drinking and enjoying. You collect money, single malt should be enjoyed.
Notamos que hay mucha gente que está guardando demasiado producto, más en el mercado asiático, como para poder lucrar con el whisky a corto o mediano plazo, ¿no?
What I like to say when I describe the Glen Grant range, I describe the Glen Grant range quite simply to people, you know, because we have the non-age, we have the 10, we have the 12, we have the 18, which is there as our core range, and we do specials for special ages like the 170th edition, the decades for mine, and we launch a cask strength one every year for the visitors only. But when I describe them as a family, I say the young one's the baby, the 10, 12 and 18, the 10 is the father figure, Okay, I'll come back to that one. The 18 is the mother figure and the 12 is the student. The father figure, the 10-year-old, is the most complex and rounded one. And you will find influence from the father figure in the major, the baby, the 12 and the 18. The mother is the 18, the older one, because it's more elegant and sophisticated and delicate and floral. And the 12-year-old has got an unusual spicy finish to it, and it's different, slightly different from the others. It has got the fruitiness and the toffee and the creamy vanilla notes that the rest have, but it's got this unusual spicy, stronger spicy finish to it. So I call it the student in the family because they're the renegades, they do things differently. So what I'm basically saying is, you know, single malts don't have to be 20, 30, 40, 50, 70 years old to be exceptional quality. You can get a very, very high quality single malt like Glen Grant at 10 to 18 years old. And 2 years ago we launched a 15-year-old cask strengths first full bourbon barrels. And that was entered into the Speyside, Spirit of Speyside Whisky Festival Challenge. And it came out #1 in the 13 to 21-year-old range. So it's off older competitors.
En la actualidad, ¿cuántas personas tienes trabajando aquí en Glen Grant?
The whole, between the warehouse, the office, the distillery, the bottling hall, the quality check, the engineering, there are 27 people at Glen Grant.
Oh.
27. And I think it's rather nice and reassuring for consistent quality. And I say I'm only here for consistent quality because I want to make a consistent quality spirit today for 50 years from now, so I can know that your child, your son or granddaughter or grandson will be drinking the same quality of Glen Grant in 50 years' time as you are drinking now. So it's nice to see that we are producing single malt here, maturing it in the warehouses here, selecting cars, maturing it here, and completing the cycle by bottling it on site. So everything that goes into a bottle is controlled by us in Speyside at Glen Grant.
Aparte, Dennis, ha aumentado mucho la producción aquí en Glen Grant en cuanto a cantidad de líquido. Creo que en los últimos años ha aumentado bastante.
Yes, the company have decided that 100% of Glen Grant production is laid down for Glen Grant stocks for future support of all the expressions and creating new ones. So in the past, many years ago when I was younger, they'd be filling for everyone for blending and reciprocal deals, but now we only fill for ourselves and lay down the stock for ourselves. It's incrementally growing every year because we're launching these new expressions. So the 10 and the 10 has been there for quite some time and it's growing very well. The 12 was launched 4 years ago with 18, and the 18 was on allocation because we didn't have enough stocks to supply. Well, we have got more demand than we have stocks just now.
Claro. Dennis, una pregunta importante que toda la gente del mundo whisky quiere saber. Con el tema del Brexit aquí en Escocia, ¿cómo se ve el mundo del whisky?
We are like every other company. We've been laying down stocks and shipping them abroad so that we have got a quantity to keep supplying our consumers. But Brexit is for us is like every other company, quite a worry because there's so much uncertainty there, you know. Europe was a big market for us, and our head office is in Italy, which is in Europe, so I don't think it should be, this is my view, I don't think it should be too much of a worry for us because we are owned by Campari, who are based in Italy and in Europe, so we're a Europe-owned company. We don't export directly from here to every country in the world. We export to certain countries, but a big majority goes to Italy, to our central distribution point, where they ship it off to all other countries in the world. And the reason for that really is not just to ship to Italy and then ship to America or ship to France or ship to... The reason for that is that when they have a centralised distribution, Campari have Jimmy Russell or Wild Turkey, they've Appleton Rum, they've Grand Marnier, they've got Aperol, they've got Campari, they've got Sky Vodka and Glen Grant. So any country can request 2 or 3 mixed containers so you can get all our products. And Campari's vision has been for the last 2 or 3 years going forward is to premiumise their products. Premiumise Glen Grant, Wild Turkey, Appleton Rum, Grand Marnier. They're in the premium business now.
Claro. Denis, yo he visto que utilizan muchas barricas de bourbon aquí en la destilería. ¿Qué importancia se le da a la barrica?
Glen Grant have a tradition of making a 5-year-old for Italy, which is a very big number in Italy, volume in Italy. And to get a 5-year-old of high quality, and we're in the quality business, it's very difficult to do that, so we only use bourbon casks three times. 3 times, so filled once, dumped, filled 2 dumped, 3 dumped, 3 times. That way we get maximum flavours from the wood. The bourbon wood for Glen Grant complements the product because Glen Grant is a fruity estery spirit and it takes this lovely creamy toffee vanilla note from the bourbon wood, and we get most of our bourbon wood from Wild Turkey because we own Wild Turkey, the company. So we get first class casks for doing so. We've been producing a 5-year-old, it's there, look, only for Italy. That's the only country, and we've been doing that for 40 years, you know, and more. So because in the early 60s, late 50s, early 60s, a gentleman called Armando Giovanetti visited Glen Grant when Douglas McKessock owned it, and he took 5 cases back in the boot of his car and he started distributing Glen Grant, and it just grew, you know, to a huge number. So the nice thing about Glen Grant is, you know, we've got a high quality young Glen Grant going to Italy, and people used to, the perception of Glen Grant was that it was just a young spirit, you know, a young, good young spirit, but it's not. Glen Grant appreciates right through the whole range to 50-year-old, because in 2013 I selected a sherry butt that I filled in 1963, and then we bottled it and sold it in 2013. So there's nobody in the industry had filled a cask and then 50 years later was still there and could bottle it. So, and it just proved that we appreciate in quality from 5 years to 50 years plus.
Sabes que recuerdo, Denis, que una vez de tantas veces que estuve aquí, pernoctando, me quedé a dormir aquí en tu casa, me acuerdo cuando demolieron Caperdoni, que estaba justamente aquí enfrente, que eran las hermanas Mesisas como destilería.
Yes, well, Caperdonic was opened in 1898 as Glen Grant No. 2 by John and James Grant, the founders. They opened it to increase the capacity of Glen Grant, so they built Glen Grant No. 2. It was called Glen Grant No. 2, not Caperdonic. It wasn't called Caperdonic until it reopened again in 1965. So from 1898 to 1901, it made single malt down there, and we pumped it right up to Glen Grant here and filled it all here. There was a world recession in 1901, so they closed the distillery, and it reopened in 1965, but they called it Caperdonic, which is the name of the well that we get the water from, Caperdonic, or Caperdubermeich, the deeper Sabbath well. Pernod Ricard took over the company, as you know, so they closed it in 2002, 2003, and it never reopened. And Forsyths, the coppersmiths, they are the biggest coppersmiths in the world, they bought it, knocked it down, and extended their building for making stills. Glen Grant has got plenty of capacity for its own needs, you know, now.
Bueno, querido Denis, la verdad te quiero agradecer mucho porque verte a ti nuevamente, más que tuve un año que no pude viajar por mi hombro, ya te extrañaba demasiado, a pesar que estemos siempre en contacto. Sos una persona tan importante para mí, que estás entre los 3 mejores de toda la historia, y venir a verte y visitarte con mis amigos, que mis amigos puedan conocer todo lo que vivo año tras año con vos, es una cosa maravillosa, Denis. Te quiero dejar un gran saludo para ti y para toda tu familia, especialmente para tu mamá.
Well, thank Miguel very much for coming to visit Glen Grant again, and I welcome him every time he comes here, because he has in here a passion for single malt and for Glen Grant, and I have that same passion. So we are basically brothers, half brothers from Argentina and Glen Grant.
Sí, vamos a abrirlo por Escocia y por mi querida Argentina. que es un país único. Y te voy a compartir un poquito mi experiencia. Vamos a brindar con
Cheers
Escocia,
to my good
con
friend.
mi querida Argentina, para que cada día estemos mejor. Y bueno, vamos a salir adelante con todo lo que nos ocurre y con la pasión que tenemos por el whisky. Quiero brindar
Cheers, I'll drink to that.
para Argentina.